I guess I never do a good job in keeping up with my supposed daily blog. It's like what, like 3 months later and shit. But I haven't really done much other than the last 3 days. I kind of just did a lot. But between that and the last time I made a video, I haven't really done much. So this is what I've done so far on this shit. Let's see. Excuse my terrible filming. So whoever had it before had made some weird mounts on this fucking frame, and they were like falling apart, and they were like really set back because the transmission that it had in there is really short, and the block's also really small. According to the guy, they told him that it's a small block Oldsmobile, which apparently fucking 350 trans. I don't know. I really don't know about Oldsmobile or that particular year, and it's harder to just call it out without knowing what vehicle it came from or whatever. Not really interested. So we had to make some mounts, which it's funny because the customer was gonna bring me metal, right? And then he first brought me like a really thin, like fucking sheet metal I could bend with my hand for motor mounts, and I was like, well, what the fuck's this? And then he brought me like a fucking sewer plate, like a fucking thick ass plate. So I spent a lot of time pressing and drilling that shit to get the holes in it. But basically, um, again, I'm working with what they've brought me here, but I think it worked pretty good. You see, because the original mount there for the motor mounts is like a 3 hole on the frame right there, and we're basically just brought it back about 4 inches, so I wouldn't have to fuck with the drive shaft because this frame's like an unknown length, and neither one of the drive shafts would work with those mounts. So we used a Caprice drive shaft, the '89 drive shaft, and then it landed it there, and then pretty much I'm like, well, I'll just make a plate, and it worked good, and it looks all right. Nobody's gonna be looking in there anyway, but it's gonna be all painted black. And she's mounted, and I got it running pretty much. I had to drop that distributor that they brought me. It came in that box right there. And that is a text message from my bank. Excuse that. Yeah, so basically I got it running, and I'm feeding it off of this little tank from like a lawnmower. It's really useful. I use it a lot. And it's just gravity fitting into the carb. And it doesn't idle for that long. Um, the float keeps getting stuck. The float keeps getting stuck on the fucking carburetor. So, you know, this guy's gonna bring a new carburetor. In my opinion, all these quadrajets from the 70s and 80s, they can be rebuilt and all that bullshit, but then they can be warped, and then for sake of reliability and just badassness, he needs to get himself a Holly or a Eder block. You know, that's what I told him. Bring me a new carburetor, you son of a bitch. I'm just playing, but yeah, for sure. In my experience, trying to fucking fiddle with that shit, it's gonna just take a lot of time from the build, and better off just reliable. He wants everything to be, on point. The distributor works good. It's one of those MSD reproductions and shit. And then, well, basically what I did is, this is so simple. It's just one wire of 12 volts going from the ignition of the switch onto the distributor, and then also from the ignition part of the distributor, this yellow wire, it goes to a fucking 194 bulb, and then back to the alternator for the charging system. And then the other wire from the alternator goes to the 12 volt too, which the battery plugs into the starter, and that's where everything comes out of. It's pretty good, pretty easy with GM. When I did my brother's 390 swap for the 460 swap on his Ford, and I had to do the Duraspark wiring. Now that shit It's not hard, I guess, but it's way more complicated than just Chevy. Boom, boom. That's why there's Chevy 350s and everything. The 460 runs good, but it was just a little more involved. But it has some sick spark with that Dura spark, you know. So basically, that's where I'm at right now. Um, it's kind of like funny, I guess, but the whole build has been not that hard. But the hardest fucking part is this, which wasn't even me that pisses me off. This is how the fucking customer brought it with this fucking bolt broken in there. And I drilled a hole all the way in and I put the extractor and it fucking broke. It broke my fucking snap-on extractor inside that bitch, yo. I don't know if they fucking put it in there with JB Weld or what the fuck. So now the extractor's broken there and I'm gonna like grind it down flush and drill it again. I don't know. It just kind of frustrated me already a little bit. It's the small things. Especially how it didn't break on me, It broke on someone else. Who the fuck was fucking with that Caprice before this. Yeah, all this came out of an 89 Caprice. I think I had mentioned it before. And that's what's supposed to be my daily blog, but I wouldn't count on it. Not that anybody's watching, really, right? Kind of makes you feel like you're insane out here, like in the middle of my yard, talking to myself, you know? Which, in theory, I'm talking to, like, whoever wants to see it, right? I definitely just smoked too much pot this morning. um, so, on my bro's truck, the day he was gonna drive it out, we changed the transmission fluid and didn't want to shift. The whole fucking story. So it's still there, not shifting out of first. So he got tired of it, and I think he's tired of his fucking Galaxy too, because I think next week we're gonna pull out that 5.0 in the transmission, and then we're gonna put in the 460 from the Galaxy. That bitch is gonna have a fucking big block Ford with a fucking pipe sticking out of the side, full on, no fenders, just the front grill's gonna go on it. That's what's happening. But yeah, it's kind of just annoying how we went through all this. It always ran through the fucking building and bodywork and all this bullshit, and right when we're gonna drive it, it just stops shifting. Fucking Ford AOD transmission. Not even playing. Like, we're driving it all morning. We're like, you know what? Before you take it out on the road, let's just do a transmission oil change. Just to keep it safe. We fucking change the transmissions oil and boom, that's it. Won't shift anymore. Well, that's about all that's going on right now. I do have some go karts for sale. So if you guys want to hit me up, you can probably see I have that yellow Pensoil fiberglass body go kart for sale, and I have a fiberglass body Bug brand 70s vintage sand buggy for sale too. I'm too lazy to walk over there and show you the goddamn thing, but I think I'll just do it. Because then they'll be like, why the fuck didn't you show it if you're selling that bitch, right? So, this one, this one's the one for that Pensoil body. It's pretty much complete, and it comes with that, because I put a Predator just to test it. I don't want to say for testing purposes because I feel like I'm ripping off Carson cameras and shit. But I put a Predator on this bitch just to test it, and then the this will say Tecumseh, but I don't know. I've always said Tecumseh. I don't know. I don't even know how to pronounce it anymore. You see, this fucker hearing people pronounce that shit on the internet confused me. But that's that's the original engine. That's on my Death Trike. It's this car's engine. It's not on the Death Trike like installed or anything. It's just sitting on there. And then I'm also selling this bitch, which is a vintage Bug brand. Like, they would make them in the 70s in America, and the brand is Bug. And this is what the guy that sold it to me said. But it's pro made. I mean, this tub is sick. It sits a fucking full grown adult. Feels like you're gonna fly in it. That's really sick. Big ass tires. It's all complete, man. And it has a live axle already. Like that shit's. I'm asking 350 for that one and 400 for the fucking Pensoil. Hit me up if anybody is interested. I guess this concludes. This shit concludes my video for today.